30 feet.
So it looks like it takes a minute.
They
That was
got
here at Stockyards?
Yeah, it was a PBR.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Bulls Night Out.
Yeah. Oh, they got some mean sons of bitches. Boy. Tough.
You're on.
A lot of guys from
Whoa.
Calgary.
We're on. Hold on,
All Canadians
we're Canadians.
and Brazilians.
Yeah.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Hey, folks. We're reminiscing here. Y'all pardon us. We were muttering.
Yep.
Our producer over there, our director, didn't yell at me quick enough. We got telling old stories here. Well, you know, Mr. Sinclair.
Oh, just getting ready for spring.
Oh, yeah.
Getting ready for that
Me too.
that competition we got coming up. It's
Yep.
grass is starting to grow, and
Oh, yeah.
it's warming up in Texas, folks.
Yep.
Looks like it's warm up everywhere. Actually, there's no snow in Maine and anywhere. So
Nevada.
global warming.
Yeah. Now, Colorado got like 6 feet.
Yeah, Minnesota. They got a bunch of snow everywhere
Yeah,
else, but
yeah.
it's
But
so
Maine
weird.
didn't.
No, nothing.
There's no snow in Maine.
Nope. Not up north. There's ice. There's snowing now, but
Yeah.
so
Man.
it's weird.
So,
El Nino.
with springtime coming, don't forget, folks, you want to try your hand at personal protection certification and make a little bit of cash, and find out how good your dog really is.
Right.
Come on, April 20. Hey, Daryl Thornton. Daryl will be our judge. One of the top, he's one of the veteran canine handlers on the streets that you're going to find. But not only that, he's also competed. And one of the top handlers and trainers in pro sports ever. I think he had the highest score in obedience ever. And that ain't bad when you figure he's going up against some of them boys from Danish military and all that sort of stuff in Sweden.
Amazing.
Several
Good.
countries
Good.
that were competing. Anyway, there's one thing I've been meaning to mention: Battlebred Concepts. This guy it's a great idea. He's got nothing but interviews with dog people, and it's predominantly, I think he started off with bulldogs. A lot of old American bulldog people, Alapahala bulldog breeders. He's got just a ton of nothing but interviews and some of the biggest names in the dog business. It's called Battlebred Concepts. I got a little interview on there myself. It not quite as fancy as some of the others, but if you're killing time and curious about all sorts of training, check it out. I think you'll find I know you'll find some trainers you want to hear from and some breeders you want to hear from. It's good stuff.
Good stuff.
What do you think, Mr. Sinclair? Where'd you get your Doberman from?
Waco, Texas.
Waco? Is
Yes,
he
sir.
still breeding?
I don't think so.
You gonna start breeding?
I don't think so. Not right now.
Not right now. Maybe later.
Yeah. Not too sure who can. I'm pretty picky about who gets my dogs,
Yes.
especially those Dobies.
Yeah, and that's as I'm finding out the hard way as I'm into the breeding business. You can do all you can to interview them and hope they're right, and they can call you 8 months later and say, "Oh, my wife got a divorce and I got an ingrown toenail, so I can't walk my dog."
Yeah.
And so you gotta conscientious breeders they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Things to do. But anyway, speaking of breeds, we are going to talk about one of my favorite subjects. Let's see. Black Bart will be 11 years old in May. He's the only shepherd I've owned in the last 25 or 40 years that got past the age of 8. Take that back. I had my one partner in my OSA in my guard dog company. She was 10. Bart still runs around like he's 5 years old. In fact, we're gonna take him out and do some tests. We'll get some videos of him performing, and bring them on one night. But the whole thing with the Western Shepherd Project has turned out to be just way more than I could ever dreamed of. So we're going to talk about there's some distinct differences, things I've never seen in a breed. And when I say in a breed, I'm talking, you know, for something to be recognized as a breed, it's got to be able to reproduce itself, being held to a standard, a written standard. At the third generation, from there on, it has to produce what matches that written standard. That makes it a breed. If it's not capable of reproducing itself with the third generation or third or fourth generation when they get together, then it's a type. It's not a breed. So we're on our fifth or sixth generation, and I'm seeing things that really shock me. For instance, I'd have never thought that emotional choices, likes and dislikes, could be genetically passed on. But the one thing that was always fun with Bart is he's got this fondness for kids. Not a bad thing, especially the first question I get asked when people ask about, or the number one question I'm asked, people ask about training their protection dog, or they come to me about buying an already trained dog, is what's going to happen with my kids around? What if my kids are wrestling? They're all, and rightly so, they worry about their kids. And I explained to him, you know, a properly trained dog, if he ain't so smart as he can tell the difference between when your kids are playing and when somebody's beating them up, then you shouldn't be feeding that dumb sucker, you know. Mm-hmm. So Bart has this affinity for children. If there's a crowd, if we go to a store somewhere, people are always coming up to him and petting him. If they're petting him and somebody walks by with a kid, Bart will exit the attention from the adults and wander over to people's kids. There have been more than one or two mothers who turned around and saw his big head sticking in the baby cart or the basket and almost had heart attacks on the scene, you know. Mm-hmm. But he loves kids, and for personal protection dogs, they're going to be a family dog. That means they should be with you, be able to be with you anywhere you go. And you're going to encounter children, and some of them children are going to poke the dog in the eye. Some of them are going to scream real loud and startle him, and that dog needs to know the difference. And I just last night, in fact, Renee, a lady who works here, has got I think Vinny's 18 months old, a Bart's son, and Vinny, she's got a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old kid, right? 2-year-old daughter, 7-year-old son. She was talking about how much Vinny loves to play with the kids. Now, one of the things people complain about, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, is the dogs chasing the kids and knocking them down, right? Mm-hmm. Big problem. Some like boxers, and they're kind of energetic. So she got a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, and Vinny just can't wait in the afternoon to get out and play with them. And what he does with the 7-year-old, what he does with both of them is he doesn't chase the kids. They chase him. They chase him. And she said it's hilarious because how the 2-year-old chases him and how the 7-year-old, how he acts when the 7-year-old chases him are two different things. They'll all three be out in the backyard, and she said Vinny will walk up to whichever one he wants to play with, if they haven't already started playing with him, and he'll bounce up and down. And if it's the 2-year-old, he'll kind of just hop away from her. And he'll look back and see how close she is, and if she's not very close, he'll slow. From lying, I'm dying. I'm just telling you what she told me. He'll slow down until she can come up and grab him around the neck, and then he gives her kisses. If it's the 7-year-old boy, he'll run back, spin around, drop down into a play bow, jump towards him, jump away. I mean, they play. But that dog knows the difference. Mm-hmm. He knows the difference. So, we got a video. Are these in order, Carol Ann?
It should be, yes. The first one, I got it ready. The puppies?
Yeah. So this is one of the ways we start our dogs out. I don't know if that's our puppy room, and I don't know if we have several families who volunteer their children to come over and be mauled by puppies, but I don't know if it's genetics or if that's what's making the dog so partial to the children, but not yet. We're going to go. But now you still, huh?
This one?
In a minute here, we're gonna. So all of Bart's children Bart's babies, I call them, love kids. But at some point, you got to have the protection side of it. We have problems with inexperienced people getting dogs like Malinois, which are now popular, and they have too much energy. They can't control them. They don't know how to work with them. You've been around some Malinois. Is there a problem with them, or what's?
Nope.
Why have they got such a bad rep? Don't get a Mal, don't get a Mal. That's the breeders telling you that too.
Because you don't need a Mal in.
Why
You can't
that?
put the time in for the high energy dog like that. You can't put in the time for a high energy dog. They take work. You got to work them. You got to be out with them. I'd say Mal's a couple hours a day. They got to run. You got to be involved with them. If you're gonna keep them in the backyard or keep them in a cage all day, well then they'll tend to go ahead and tear stuff up because they have all that pent up energy and you don't know what to do. And it's that with other breeds too, but Mals are high energy dogs. I mean, they need the handler to be You got to work with them. You got to be interactive. You always got to do something with them every day. And I know a couple guys that have them. They spend 3-4 hours a day. They got jobs too. In the morning before they go to work and everything.
They call them alligators for a reason.
Right. No,
Right, Troy. Yeah. Well,
but once they start working, they'll work and 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 they'll bite and they'll work till they drop. They won't ever stop. They have that much of a high prey drive and a drive.
yeah.
They want to please you also, but they're just
Yes.
that's how they're built.
Yeah.
They're just a lot. If you want to be a couch potato, then get you a damn beagle or get you. I wouldn't get a Pomeranian because they're very affectionate too and they need a lot of time and they're barkers. But get you something that if you want to, or get a cat.
There you go.
But if you want, and all these movies coming out and everything else with all these mouths in them, and it's flavor of the month,
Yeah.
But they've been around longer than the movies.
Yeah.
But you get one, there's people. I've seen somebody come out here with one and 2 different dogs. John Wayne comes out. John Wayne is a very good dog. He's a bad son of a gun.
Malinois, not the movie star.
Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, great dog, listens to his handler, just loves to work, very well behaved. I had another one come out. That poor dog. The dog was actually running the show.
Yeah.
They don't put enough time in. You got to put time in those dogs. Shepherd, Dobie, but Mal's, you're even,
Yep. So.
Someone comes, but my dog been chewing my furniture. Red flag 1. That tells me you haven't done what you're supposed to do. Well, you don't listen. Red flag 2. The red flags just keep popping. It all points back to the handler or the owner.
Yeah.
And dog.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to get that kind of a thing. So you need this intensity. Now, there's something that I see in the guard dog business. It's common, but I never hear it spoken of with the people who are training the personal protection dogs and the sport dogs, and that's this competitiveness, this desire to win. Mm-hmm. They just talk about high energy and drive. And we're going to play this next video, and we'll just play it, and we'll listen to what these are comments about a dog this guy just caught. Yeah.
Have no
And I'll elaborate on it after you hear what he has to say about the dog. Oh wait, can you hear it?
He's just a really fast dog.
Yeah.
He's not easy to cheat. He's not. I got my competition here.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, that gentleman, we'll see him again here in a minute. That gentleman, now he's really, really fast. Not easy to cheat or get past. And so you think he's talking about a Malinois, right? That really, really fast dog he's talking about was at that time a 104-pound black Bart. And he is Christian Jorgensen. He's from Denmark. He is active duty military. He is an MMA fighter in, I believe he did, don't hold me to that, but I'm thinking him and Thomas both did MMA fighting in Denmark. His full-time job is catching dogs. He's 6'2", probably 190. He's in shape. And the dog that impressed him the most was not one of them 100-mile-an-hour, 70-pound Malinois. And there's a reason, I'll go into it here in a minute, why we don't use Mals in the guard dog business. Very few. So let's hit that second. And before you hit it, this is, yep, I'll tell you what this one does after we. You got to be an athlete to be a good protection dog. You must be an athlete. You must have energy and intensity. So we see lots of obstacles set up in lots of different places. And when I get these great decoys like Christian come over here to work with my dogs, I like to set up as tough a test as I possibly can. I want to test, like any athlete, you want to test to your limit to see how good you really are. Here's that. This is 2 days after he made that statement about Black Bart. Sound? Look close when the. Now you can see how far down we are. That's just a big old hay barn.
I'm on.
Yeah. And that's the equivalent of about a 2-story building. And you can see all 104 pounds of Black Bart. That's the very first time he's ever seen that place. But I told him to go get that guy. And Bart loves a fight. And he went and got that guy.
You miss a beat.
Never missed a beat. And now people talk about sleeve happy dogs and equipment oriented dogs. If on my computer I've stopped that right at the end, and you can see when Bart's going after to hit, he may be grabbing his arm, but his eyes are straight up. He's eyeball to eyeball with that person he's fighting, because he's there to whoop him. He's not there to bite his sleeve or his arm. But what we achieved with the Western Shepherd is a dog who is great with kids, calm, doesn't have to have something to do all the time. But when you do ask him to work, it's like 0 to 60 that fast. He doesn't go at anything he's doing without all the energy he's got in him. But when he's not doing something you ask him to do, he's as calm and relaxed as you can ask a dog to be, and loves children. So these are some of the. Is that all the videos we had, Carol Ann?
Yes.
That's it. Okay.
I have that other video of him.
Oh.
When he was.
Well, we got one other one. So just to kind of illustrate, if you ask most of the trainers when they're teaching dogs, especially when you've got the high energy males that are just the teaching your dog to release on command and be calm is pretty much the hardest thing, because they don't want to quit because the guy's still standing. So I'm not going to even begin to talk about the different ways that people have devised to get a male especially, to quit biting, right, and be under control. The most difficult thing in the world to train a dog, a protection dog, is what we call, as was termed, a call-off. It's big in French ring, and they're teaching those males to do it, and they're very good at it. They got a big old whistle. They'll send the dog after somebody, and when he gets to a certain point, they'll blow their whistle, and the dog will turn and come back. Now, I mean, for French ring, it's great, and these are really, when these dogs are under control, they're going down there to kill something, and they're serious when the whistle blows. They just go and they turn around. When American police forces started talking about doing call-offs, and I was doing the guard dog business, I got thinking, do I really want my dog to turn around and come back to me in the situation? And to my thinking, that was potentially hazardous. The dog I call him off, he turns around, he comes back, and the guy pulls a pistol out of his back pocket, goes to capping him. So even if it's somebody that was wrongly, someone, you sent your dog after somebody, and an innocent bystander comes running across and gets in the dog's path, and you have to stop him, you don't need to call the dog all the way back to you. So what I started doing, and I think a lot of police departments are doing this now, what I started doing back in the early 90s for my patrol dogs was teaching them to drop and guard the potential threat until I either approach them and take control of the person, or ID them and make sure that they're cool, and then call the dog back. To get a dog to do that, to give you an idea, for those of you who know who Big George Foreman is, this is what it's like. If Big George cooked up one of a big old greasy cheeseburger on his, I'm gonna hold this over here, on one of his famous George Foreman grills, he put all the cheese on it, he put all the mayonnaise on it, he put all the lettuce and tomatoes, he got that cheeseburger right ready to go. He's been working hard all morning. He picks that cheeseburger up and he sticks it right this far from his mouth, and then you holler, "Don't!" And what are the odds he's going to quit? I mean, George's going to go, and then he's going to look at you and chew, right? That's how hard it is for a dog that's in full flight, going after a target, to stop what he's doing. Really high energy dogs some of them, I've been told, just can't do that. So with all the energy that the Western Shepherds put into their bite work, they should be one of the hardest ones in the world to deter and stop, just like a Mal. Difference being, the Mal weighs 65, 70 pounds. These guys are weighing 90 or 100, The manhandling techniques you're using on a Mal, you're not going to use on a Western Shepherd. You ain't going to get away with it. So, Carol Ann, you got that other video?
Yes, I'm doing it right now. I don't know why it wasn't saved.
We're going to get, this is one of our other sires named Bullet. Kerry Butterfield, Agent Butters owns Bullet. And he's produced some really great puppies. But this is, I think, a good example of what I call a security style call off.
Do you have the sound on, or do you want it on?
We can have it on.
Okay, whenever you're ready, it's ready.
You ready, Scott? And this is about, how far is that across? Well, that's all right. Just run the send. Let's see. How many?
30 yards.
30, 40 yards that we're sending the dog. Enough that he's really wound up. There you go, folks. And now if the guy moves, the dog stops him.
Get him, boy.
And you notice she didn't have to jump up and down, scream and holler. She said it one time, and this dog listens. And is there any doubt in your mind he ain't serious?
Yep.
Boy. Get him, boy. Good job.
There you go, folks. Now that's not something you're going to see with a whole lot of dogs. I don't care how well trained they are. It's also the safest way, if you're on the streets, to clear this person of being someone dangerous, and keep you and your dog safe. You can approach. If he does move to go after you, bullet's going to stop the guy. He can't blink without getting rebit.
What if they move, like, retreat?
You're gonna bite. You
What
bite
if
you.
what?
If they retreat, if they start backing up, or
You're bit.
Don't move. Once he locks in and he's called off into a guard, any movement,
any kind of movement?
yeah, he'll bite.
Leg, arm, it don't matter, you're getting bit.
He's coming.
Any, you can get to the point where you can get him like bullet. I can get to where I can flinch, and he won't move.
One
He won't. No, he won't move. He knows. He knows the difference between a flinch
Flinch and a movement.
and if it's a whole movement, he'll come up, right?
Okay.
But just a flinch, at first you blink wrong, he'd bite you. But after you work him, and it's like anything else. It's like you're building that guard up to that point. After that, you can start. The dog's smart enough to know if you're trying to run or if you're trying to do something, But it's not advised you do something quick, Mm-hmm. That's what they're taught.
Right, right. And that's I think the biggest thing I like about Bart's babies. The other problem that you have with the smaller dogs is, and I've seen some YouTube videos. There's one where some dog, they sent him through the window to get this big old, like 300-pound guy, and the guy comes out and he's banging on the dog the whole time. You don't bang on Western Shepherds. They will control the fight. So I take it back, I say never. I rarely had a dog on a guard dog site that was less than 70 pounds. They were usually, that was my minimum cutoff. I've mentioned before, I had one little terrier mix thing named Cuz. It was like 45 pounds. He just lived and breathed to bite anything that was moving. He wasn't mean, he just, if it moved, he wanted to go get it. But the smaller dogs, I mean, you see them in YouTube videos all the time when they're doing this, and they stick their arm out, and the dog, and they pick them up and they pet them and they bang them into walls. That's what you can do to a 60-pound dog. That's not going to protect you if somebody's really pissed. And let me, just from experience that maybe a lot of people haven't had, I can say without a doubt that once your dog sinks teeth into some individual who's already not a really nice individual, I guarantee you, they're really pissed, and you don't want to give them the opportunity to come up and express how they feel about you at that moment. Mm-hmm. So they'll pick them up, they'll kick the dogs in the gut, kick male dogs in the cods. All those things can happen.
It turns into a me or you situation. There's no more etiquette.
Right.
Survival.
It's survival
on both sides.
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
So,
And that, that's why I don't like anything 70 pounds or under in a guard dog site. Now, and they can make great personal protection dogs, so don't get me wrong, because you're with them when the problem occurs. So they've got team backup, but I still prefer a 90-pound dog that, like Christian, that decoy in the very beginning. When Bart hit him. Oh, and one other distinction for Christian. For the first 4 or 5 years of Bart's life, I had quite a few people come out here and say, "Yeah, I heard about your dog. I want to take a bite from Bart." And we'd do a couple on leash, and then they say, "Well, let's send him." Nobody that we sent Bart on ever stood up. When that dog hits you, you're going down. Period. Never was there ever a decoy, except for Christian.
yeah, but you had help.
Huh?
You had that A-frame help him.
Yeah. And
When
one
you went and caught himself in the A-frame, he was hitting the ground.
he grabbed. There was an A-frame there just as he was going down, and he caught himself and picked up. But still, I mean, this is what you get when you have a dog of that size and that athletic ability. And that's what when I started this project, it was to get back to shepherds that were athletes, period. Because that's what Max von Stephanus created, and that's what rule the world of protection training. I mean, police work and military work up until the 70s when Americans decided they really loved German Shepherds and they were going to make them prettier. So,
You know, I never owned a German Shepherd.
you never owned one?
My dad did.
Yeah.
They were police dogs.
Mhm.
It just was way too shed a lot.
Yeah, they shed a lot. That's,
Were the
Golly.
original ones shedding that much, or is that when they started
Yeah.
changing and they started shedding more?
you know, I really can't say on that. I was around shepherds a little bit as a kid, but not that many. There's like 3 or 4 that I remember. I didn't start being around them until I was probably in high school. And in high school, I didn't know if I had dog hair on me or not, and didn't really care.
Yeah,
I knew, because they weren't allowed in the house.
Yeah, mine either. I had
My mom said
I had a
no,
white
no.
shepherd, and she would shed twice a year. She'd molt in the spring. It was bad. It was
Bad.
clumps of hair. I mean, it was
Clumps.
crazy. But they had an undercoat.
Yeah.
Heavy coat.
I would guess that in the Black Forest in Germany, Germany's not I mean, it's a little higher latitude than we are. So they probably always had that denser undercoat, I'm guessing. You know, so anyway, that's the Western Shepherd. That's what we work towards. You know, we do 2 spring litters and 2 fall litters. We wait to see, we do obedience with all the pups. That all goes with it because in my way of thinking as a breeder, if I'm really trying to produce a better dog, I've got to see what the dogs are doing as adults. And I've got to give them every opportunity to show me what they're capable of. And so for that reason, we do every pup that's sold has obedience training included in the price, period. Because I know after watching these dogs learn and then watching them interact in everyday life, first, I have no doubt that we x-ray everything we breed. We don't breed anything without damn near perfect hips, that's how we started. That was the reason I started doing this. So I know structurally they're sound as you say sound as a dollar, but that may not work anymore. They're just as sound a dog structurally as you're going to find. They are pure athletes. But by taking them and making sure they're given the chance to learn, we put them through school, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade. And then when they're adults, we can see what their brain is like. So, you know, we got, I think, a pretty good dog.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a call, and if you ever want to go compete and go to pro sports and get you a real badass. So April 20, we got our pro sports trial. We'll be having some surprises and some things that people in the protection dog world haven't ever seen before. So it's what we're looking for is Lassie with a Dirty Harry attitude. We'll see if we
There you go. Yeah.
We'll see if we can show y'all all that at our trial on the 20th. And other than that, what else you got, Mr. Sinclair?
Oh, just you covered it pretty good tonight.
I thought so. Hope so.
Yeah, you did. But my biggest thing is you got to be a partner with that dog too.
Right.
These dogs need nurturing. They need leadership, and they need commitment from you as getting one of these dogs that you're going to put the time they need to mature into the Western Shepherds we come to know and love.
Yep.
And remember, it's all about the dogs, people.
Yep. Thank you much.
Thank you.